But good afternoon to everyone joining us today. This is Lunch with the State Library. It is March of 2024, and we are here today to talk about specialized consulting, which I guess is to say all of the consultants on our staff who do not have a district territory assigned to them. You guys heard from our district consultants last month or the month before, but the folks you see on the screen right now and who you'll meet as we go through the slides today are here to help you on a certain topic across the whole state. So no matter where you're located, we are here to help. My name is Samantha Bouwers, and I'm the consultant for continuing education. I also happen to come alphabetically first in this list of assorted folks you see in front of you, and so I'll kick us off today, but here is where we're headed. You can see our faces on the screen in front of you now, but Scott Dermont will be talking about Enrich Iowa and the Library Science Collection. Mandy Easter talking about the library law FAQs that she manages, and I hope you're all familiar with, as well as the general legal consulting work that she does. Janeé Jackson-Doering is our youth services consultant, and Tom Kaiser manages the Iowa Heritage Digital Collection and works on our reference desk. So all that to say, the folks you see on the screen tend to wear a lot of hats. And in some cases, what you see on the screen that they do isn't even necessarily everything that they do. So we already heard from Mandy, for example, about the People's Law Library of Iowa, which is a fabulous resource and something that she works very hard on, but not something you're going to hear her talk about today. We've heard from Scott on the accreditation program earlier in the Lunch with the State Library series, so you're not going to hear him talk about that today. Tom Kaiser works really hard on our interlibrary loan program and Iowa Shares delivery system. You'll hear him talk about that later in the Lunch with the State Library series. So while we all only have one head, that head does wear many hats. So heavy is the head that wears the hats. As the saying goes, or is that not it? That's not it, but you all know what I mean. So I'm very thankful to each of these wonderful people, very busy people who are here taking time out of what are undoubtedly busy schedules. And as they reminded me, no less during spring break week. So if you all canceled a vacation just to hear from us, I'm very thankful. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think anybody did. We are recording this, so hopefully you are fresh back from a fabulous spring break vacation. Anyway, let me kick us off to start here. So as I already mentioned, we're each going to take a minute to talk about some parts of what we do. I've asked each consultant here to answer 2 questions. The Thanksgiving dinner table pitch. So you get plunked down at Thanksgiving dinner next to somebody you don't talk to very often, and they say, what exactly is it that you do at the state again? And you say, oh, well, here it is. And so Thanksgiving dinner table pitch. And then 1 or 2 things that you wish people working in libraries understood on this topic. So each consultant is going to take about 5 minutes to answer those 2 questions for you guys as we are going to go through alphabetically here. So for me, I keep losing the ability to click. My pitch is that I coordinate the continuing education and professional development that the State Library of Iowa offers to the more than 540 public libraries around the state. And I also manage our endorsement program. So that's pretty straightforward. At this point, I also always like to tell the person that's unfortunately seated next to me at Thanksgiving that Iowa is unique in its library makeup, that by volume, very few states have more libraries than that. And of course, the vast majority of our libraries, I just looked this up, it's 96% of libraries serve towns of less than 10,000 people. And so lots of very small libraries, which means that education is super important. The things that I wish that people understood about CE and the endorsement program are that they matter, which I think everyone feels about their job, that their job is important. But here's why I think they matter. Because of that unique fact, almost unique to Iowa with a large number of small libraries, that means very many folks, and maybe some of you are in this room, are coming to libraries not necessarily with a library profession for your background. And so continuing education can matter because while you might be super passionate about programming or about literacy or about some other aspect of working in the library, the CE can really help you pull that all together to help make you a more comprehensive professional who's serving your community in a more organized and dedicated way. So CE matters, and the endorsement program is definitely part of that. The other thing that I always like to tell people is that ultimately, though, you have to do what's right for you and for your community. And so, especially coming out of COVID, as we've started offering more in-person programming, I sometimes hear from people like, I can't shut down the library and be there. And like, hey, that's okay. We offer tons of stuff online. There's so many virtual conference options now. If you can't shut down the library to come, like I understand, I'm empathetic, do what's right for you. If you've got a great volunteer who can take the library on for a day, like, treat yourself to an in-person CE event though. I mean, these are great networking opportunities and great ways for you to learn. So it is important, but it also matters that you are healthy and well, and that your library is healthy and well. And so that's always what I like for people to hear from me a little bit. All right, I've talked plenty. I'm going to turn it over to Scott.
Hi, everyone. I'm Scott Dermont, and if I was sitting at the Thanksgiving table, I guess I would have a few other things to talk about. As Sam mentioned, I do wear several hats, but I actually think the most important thing I do is I manage the Enrich Iowa program for the state library. And that program is made up of 3 different funding programs, direct state aid, open access, and ILL reimbursement. And the total amount for that is about $2.5 million that we fund libraries. The majority of that money goes to public libraries, but we also do funding for some academics and also some special libraries like hospital libraries or museum libraries. So those 3 programs, direct state aid, that is based directly on the library's tier level that you gain through accreditation, which is another program that I manage, but we won't talk about that today. Then there's open access, which is the program that funds libraries for checking items out to non-residents. So if a patron from out of town comes in and checks out a book, we actually fund you for that. And then ILL reimbursement, we fund libraries for loaning their items to other libraries. And I think maybe skip a little bit out of order here, but I think the one thing that I wish more people knew about these programs is that there is a very distinct difference between open access and interlibrary loan, where open access, we reimburse you for checking items directly to the patrons, and interlibrary loan, you're loaning items to other libraries. So there is actually a large difference between the two. Then one of the other programs that I manage for the library is the library science collection. We do actually have I think, a fairly large print collection of books that are primarily written on the library science topic. I generally buy titles that are more practical and less academic in nature, although we do have academic titles in the collection. I like to get things that are more practically oriented because I think those tend to be more helpful for our smaller libraries, and that's really what this collection is designed for. We have another really good library science collection in Iowa at the University of Iowa Library, to support their library science program there. This collection is more for the public libraries, so that's what I try to do. It actually also has books in the Bridges Consortia. So if you're familiar with Bridges, I do buy ebooks on this topic every year. We've been doing that for a couple of years now, and those actually do really well, circulation wise. And coming from a public library background, I've always felt like this collection doesn't circulate very well. So I think that's one thing I wish more people knew about the collection, just in general. But I also think one thing I wish more people knew about was that you could check these out through interlibrary loan. So you can request all of our titles, all the print titles you can check out through Silo. So that's how we suggest you get those. So I think that's all I have.
We sometimes joke that Scott gets the best job because he gets to give away other people's money.
I love giving away money.
And Scott also is, you can imagine the logistics of doling out 2.5 million to 540 some libraries, potentially. Not everyone participates in the different programs, but the logistics of divvying that amount of money out in ways that are fair and equitable, and Scott quite a whiz at spreadsheet math, I would just like to say. We have another question in the chat that I'm going to answer, but where can I view the State Library of Iowa's catalog? I will put a link in the chat. You can also find a direct link to it on our website as well. So right there on the front of that website as well, the catalog, you will see a rotating carousel of titles from the professional collection. So certainly worth checking out.
And I should mention that catalog also shows our other non-library science titles, which we have quite a few of.
Yes.
So that's a complete collection rather than just library science. So it would have all the legal and state documents as well.
Things like Iowa collection, yeah, any legal and state documents as well. But the library science part, certainly the most interesting as far as I'm concerned. However, on the subject of legal documents, I better turn it over to Mandy, who's probably going to tell me that those legal documents aren't all that bad.
Hi, everyone. I provide library-related legal information to library directors, staff, trustees, and city officials using local ordinances, state law, federal statutes, administrative rules, regulations, case law, treatises, and experts' legal opinions to answer questions by phone, email, chat, and library talk. I created and continuously maintain the Library Law Frequently Asked Questions database on the State Library's website, which currently contains 120 of the most asked questions and their answers. The FAQs fall into 6 broad categories: copyright issues, funding and finance, human resources and labor, policies and legal concerns, programs and services, and the library as a city agency. 15 questions were just added a couple of weeks ago, and because the database is getting so large and a bit unwieldy, we also added a helpful instructions tab to the search page, which explains how users can employ filters to find the appropriate FAQs that address their concerns. Excuse me. But I am always happy to find and forward to you the FAQs you need so that you don't have to try to find them yourselves. I write the Legal Pickle Tickler file articles that are posted to the Library Talk online discussion forum 4 to 6 times a year. I work with the other state library consultants to create, develop, and present training on legal issues affecting public libraries. Many of those webinars are posted on our YouTube channel or can be accessed through Iowa Learns. I am the State Library's permanent liaison to the Iowa Supreme Court's Access to Justice Commission, for which I am the chair of the library's work group. We partner with the Iowa State Bar Association, Iowa Legal Aid, the University of Iowa's Law Library, and other law-related organizations to create, develop, and implement lawyers and libraries projects around the state. We're currently planning a free legal advice clinic pilot project, which will take place in 4 Iowa public libraries this October. It will hopefully become a statewide initiative in a year or two. And the two things I wish those working in libraries understood about this subject matter are, number one, my job is to find answers to librarians' legal questions. So please ask me those questions about the law rather than posting them to Library Talk in order to survey other librarians about what they think the answers might be. Other libraries and cities don't always operate lawfully. When I answer a question, I don't give you my opinion. I provide the legal foundation for the answer by citing to the law, as well as the current and authoritative documentation that supports the most thorough and accurate response possible. And number two, public libraries often don't get enough requests for legal information to make staff proficient at these types of reference questions. It can be a steep learning curve each time you get one. And the answers to legal questions can change, so you have to stay up to date too. Public libraries also don't have the tools, resources, or databases we have at the law library, or the specialized training required to answer legal questions with confidence. When your patrons ask you legal questions, send the questions to us or refer your patrons directly to us, and we'll take care of that specialized kind of research for you. You won't have to worry that maybe you know just enough about the law to be dangerous. Let us help. We respond to requests for legal information all day, every day. That's what we do, and we do it well.
Fabulous. I think that's such a great point, Mandy. So often we want to help everyone who walks in, and this is a great way that you can do that without potentially giving someone bad advice or feeling uncomfortable yourself about the words coming out of your mouth. But very cool about the legal clinic that's coming up. I'm excited to hear about that, and we'll certainly be looking for more information. Thank you, Mandy. Tom, or you, Janeé, excuse me. Sorry, I'm very bad at alphabet. It was not my best subject in library school, but Janeé is going to talk to us about youth services.
Hello, everyone. My name is Janeé Jackson-Doering. I'm the Youth Services Consultant with the State Library of Iowa. So my Thanksgiving table talk. What do I do? As a Youth Services Consultant, I provide best practices on early literacy skills, collection development, reading. These are all the basics of a Youth Services librarian. Especially with story times. I love story times. So sometimes I'm asked to model how a story time should be conducted. I offer programming resources. So sometimes I get questions from librarians on, hey, I don't know how to start a teen program. How do I start this? Or I don't know what to do for my toddler time. What things, what programs, what books should I be providing for my toddler story time? So I can come in and help with resources to help your youth librarian, or if you're the director conducting programming, I can come in and help give you programming resources to help with your youth programming. I've been to on-site consultations where I come to different libraries with a goodie bag of library books in tow. So I'm more than happy to stop out and see your library and your youth spaces and your teen spaces and offer some one-on-one consultations with you, and especially on youth-related topics. We provide a lot of the PopYS webinars that you see. They happen usually on the second Wednesday of every month, where we have an hour dedicated to a youth service topic from a member in the community to help your youth librarians or your directors with their youth-related programming. I'm also co-chair of All Iowa Reads for the children and teen programs. I also help with the PopYS Con, which is coming up April 8th and 9th. I'm helping planning that. And I also help with Summer Reading Summit, providing the trainings, which the Summer Reading Summit is coming up on April 10th. I know, shameless plug, sorry. That's just how I am. But I do all of those things, and it's a wonderful job. It's a rewarding job. The things that I wish people would know, on Library Talk, I see so many youth-related questions about Should I add ARC, an advanced reader copy, into my collection? A lot of people don't know the search function on Library Talk. If you just type in what your question is about, somebody has posted a thread about it. Trust me. So use that Library Talk search function if you have a question. You'd be surprised how many people have talked about it previously in a thread. And something I also noticed on Library Talk, everybody wants an answer really quick when it comes to youth services, something youth services related. Some answers take time to find, and sometimes the answer isn't found right away. So if someone does have a youth related question, I do reach out to them one-on-one and I find that answer for them. It may take time, but we do get the answer to you right away. So that's what youth services is all about. That's what I do.
I love it.
Oh, and the STEM and Storytime kits. I also put together the STEM and Storytime kits that you can check out through the state library's catalog as well. And more new kits are coming, so FYI.
I've seen some of them. They look exciting. Yeah, so Scott gets the pleasure of giving away the state's money, and Janeé gets the pleasure of bringing you all books when she visits. I love to come on library visits, but I never have goodies to bring. I'll still come if you want me to. I just don't have. Janeé always gets a fabulous amount of youth services books that she can give away. So
Can I show them, Sam?
you have 1 minute, then it's Tom's turn.
Really quickly, we are putting together a dance Storytime kit, and I ordered flags for these little cool, wonderful flags for a dance Storytime kit. So look for that pretty soon.
Is this going to include the 30-second dance party that I've been occasionally hearing going off in the middle of it?
Yes, it does include a 30-second dance party button for kids.
Okay,
so for youth librarians.
I'm going to check that one out and keep it in Miller because I kind of like the 30-second dance parties. All right, to stay on time, I'm going to turn it over to Tom. Thank you, Janeé.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm Tom Kaiser, and one of the consultants. And what I'll be sharing with you today is that Iowa Heritage Digital Collection, or IHDC, and what I do with that to help you all. And what that is an online digital repository where libraries can put digital collections, regardless of what the material is, if it's images, photos, text, genealogies. We even have oral history, audio, and transcripts out there. So I can help libraries plan from beginning to end any digitization project, help them with planning, identification, how to organize it, what's the best practices to scan the images. And so that way you can take your local history items, take your famous person from your area items, and put it online to share it with your patrons and with the world at large. One of the hurdles that we've recently been able to help libraries overcome is they say, well, I can't get that done because I don't have any way to scan it. Well, we now have a scanner loaner program where we can bring out a large format flatbed scanner with a laptop with all of the necessary software, show you how to use that, let you have it long enough to do your digital project, and you can scan whatever you need to scan and then put it into Iowa Heritage Digital Collection. Some of the training that I can provide for Iowa Heritage Digital is to do all of the software training that you need to be able to use the system. When you do it, you have an account, you can log in from anywhere, as long as you have access to the images or whatever you've digitized, you can work from home. Yeah. And it's one where we can provide the instruction to how to use the software to put your images online, to put the right information with your images, create your collections, and then get it out there. So that's the fun one that I get to tell people about when they ask me what I do, because it's easy that people can see the end result. And it's one where you go to Iowa Heritage Digital Online, which is the link's the iowaheritage.org, and you can see what everybody else has done before you. And I always recommend that if you're going to do a digital project, no project's too big, no project's too small. And just because you think, oh my, it's only going to be important to people at my location, well, you'd be amazed how many people have got their materials out there and it's been shared. And of course, you know, Google likes to go and find where everything's at. So if somebody does a search, then they can find it. I've even had publishers come to me and say, this image on Iowa Heritage Digital Collection, we'd like to use that in this book about this topic. And, you know, it's like, that's part of it being still your material. So then we get to send them to you and you can decide what they can do with the images that you have out there. So it does go far and wide, and it does get to share a wonderful heritage of everybody's local information with your other patrons and everybody else. Moving on, it's the Iowa Government Reference Desk, and it's one where we have several librarians that work at the reference desk, which is physically in the Capitol in the law library. So you're welcome always to come in there and ask us questions. If you want to get away from your library for a day, just ask a question. But we do have access by phone, email, and by chat. We've recently gone to a new chat system, so it's getting populated on more and more web pages. We are linked to almost every web page in the bottom right corner, or excuse me, bottom left corner. There'll be a little chat bubble. You know, people see that all over the place on everybody else's websites, but all those come to us. And it's one where the best thing about it being out there is the amount of information that the state of Iowa puts out through all the different departments is immense. And our project, our goal is that we know where it's at, who's in charge of it, how to get in touch with somebody. One of the most common questions we have is, how do I talk to somebody at fill in the blank? Well, you know, the web pages out there don't start with that. Of course, everybody's busy, so they have out their online form to send the question on. But when it gets to a immediate need and you need to actually get to the bottom of something quickly, you have a time constraint, contact us. We know who everybody is, where everybody is, what they're supposed to be doing, and how they're supposed to do it. So we can help you ferret out exactly what you're looking for. The other part is that as in just this last year, the state government did a reorganization. So, you know, a lot of times things are that in flux, and that's one of our things we do is keep up on, you know, where did everything go and who's doing it now and how's it getting done now. And that's one that you know, changes all the time. Folks that work for the legislature want to get things the way they want to get it, and they don't always worry about the unintended consequences of, oh, now we have to redesign 847 web pages to accommodate that. But we keep up on that. So that's one that you can always do. If you have anything relating to state government, any of your patrons have a question that they can't solve, give us a ring, chat, email, and we can help you get to the bottom of it.
Well, very great. Another great resource for you to share with your patrons as well. So it is 12:45. We have taken enough of your lunch hour. I hope that you get a chance to stand up and stretch, take a walk around the library. It's raining here in Des Moines, so I'm not going to go outside, but I am going to walk the tunnels. So Janeé, if I'm not back up in about 10 minutes, send out the search party. But thanks, my sincere thanks to my wonderful, dedicated, intelligent coworkers here at the State Library who hopped onto this webinar with me to let you all know a little bit about what we do. We are always here to be a resource for you, so don't be afraid to get in touch with your questions. But thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.